All right, so I'm Ayanti Gunaradana with Buddhasport.com. I'm back here again at Ocean County Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu with Tom DeBlass, who is coming off a victory in his comeback fight in Bellator against Carlos Brooks, and has announced that he's going to be returning to grappling competition. So how are you doing today, Tom?
Very well. How are you?
Good. So tell us a little bit about your last fight and what made you want to switch back to grappling for a little bit.
My last fight, it was good because it was a victory. It was a little tougher than I like it to have been. The first round was pretty tough. Carlos did a good job keeping me outside with his jab, and he hit me quite a bit. And it's the second fight in a row. My whole eye turned bloodshot red. It's like my signature now. But we ended up winning. He couldn't continue after the second round. It was a good time. Yeah, that's why I'm coming back to grappling.
Yep.
I fought. I never really. It's funny. I'm not retired from MMA or anything. But I never really wanted to fight MMA ever. Like I was at. It's funny with my teammates like Chris Boy and Frank Yeager. They used to call me Captain Armbar because I was so pro jiu-jitsu and just really wasn't feeling MMA, and I kind of fell into it, and I ended up fighting 10 times in less than 3 years. This month, June is 3 years I've been fighting professionally, and in only 3 years, so much has happened. And when you're training for MMA, you really have no life. People really don't understand the toll it takes on your body and your brain and your family and yourself. And I just love jiu-jitsu. I really do, and I still feel. I see these guys competing, and my first black belt competition was the No Gi World Championships, and I took third. And I competed in Abu Dhabi that year. Had very competitive matches with Cyborg, and then had a great a fun match with Galvao. He ended up taking my back, but I escaped. Went for a footlock, didn't get it. And you see Galvao came back and won the absolute division in his weight, and I just feel I don't want to look back in 2015 and say, oh man, I could be in this Abu Dhabi, and I'm not. I want to test myself against the new breed and, see how well I could do against these guys. And, of course, I feel like I could be decent, and they take a little while to get used to the game again, but I got great guys to train with. So, I'm just really excited about having fun with my training again. I could train jiu-jitsu 4 times a day, really, really hard, and go home and smile. You can't do that with MMA. It's not the same animal. So I'm just training jiu-jitsu every day, 2 times a day, lifting, getting bigger again, and I'm just having so much fun with it. And it's really, it's my first love. I love jiu-jitsu. That's what it is.
So you mentioned, that you're training twice a day and you have a lot of great training partners, and I know you're the head instructor here. So how does the atmosphere change at the school when you're preparing for a grappling competition as opposed to MMA?
When I prepare for grappling, I could still get great training with white belts, blue belts, all the way to black belts. I could train with all my students. When I'm training for MMA, I really can't train with all my students because I have to do so many things. I have to wrestle, I have to box, I have to spar, and I could teach more classes. I could teach so many classes when I'm training for jiu-jitsu. But MMA, I'm traveling so much, and it's so tough to really get any downtime. In jiu-jitsu, it's I teach Brazilian jiu-jitsu and competing in jiu-jitsu. It's my job is that, and it's a great thing. I think the students really enjoy me being at the school more when I'm training for jiu-jitsu competition. Of course, I think they enjoy watching me fight. You saw my last fight, how many students and friends and family and fans we had there. But I think, I think that I feel the atmosphere is a little better, probably just because I'm happier and I have less of a headache.
No weight cutting, I guess, right?
No, I do ultra
heavy.
I'm going to the heaviest weight. That's my style in jiu-jitsu. Maybe super heavyweight, maybe 215. I think it was 215 without the gi. I think super heavyweight is. Because it's 221 with the gi. Yeah. So maybe 215 or maybe over 215.
Now, do you think, or do you feel that it's going to be a tough switch from MMA back to jiu-jitsu? Because I think you said the last one you did was 2009 No Gi Worlds, right?
Yeah, what if if you look at the matches I had, in Abu Dhabi in 2009, like I said, against Cyborg, most people felt I won that match, and he went on to take second in Abu Dhabi. But since then, he's been consistently on top, like among the top guys. But since then, the game has changed so much. So yeah, I think it's a big adjustment. I think 2 years from now, I'll be better than I would have been if I, never stopped. Like I think right now my game suffers a little bit because I took so much time away from jiu-jitsu training. But I think the experience I got from MMA, it's like when I go on a jiu-jitsu competition, just can't imagine being nervous. Or what are you gonna do? Pass my guard? Like I'm not getting punched in my face. You know what I mean? Like you're not trying to smash my face in. So I really am. I have more confidence as far as that's concerned. And I think it could be different. I think everybody's great, and I just want to test the waters and see what I can do. And if I can get an international, no-gi black belt title, I think that'll really. I basically want everything at brown belt. If I can get something at black belt, that'll be really, really good.
So, what are some of the upcoming competitions you're planning to do?
The No-Gi Pan American Games, September 28th. And maybe I'll go out there and get my butt kicked, right? It's my first competition back, and I'm jumping right into, right against the world-class guys at the highest level, black belt level. But you got to be in it to win it, and I'm training super hard, and I got like great guys that have been consistently competing jiu-jitsu to train with. So that's one of the benefits that I have.
Speaking of some of the great guys you train with, I know you train with Gary Tonin a lot, and he's received a lot of press lately. You want to talk a little bit about Gary?
Yeah, Gary's sitting over there. How old were you when you started?
15.
15. Gary came to me, walked through the doors. He was 15 years old. Much different than the Gary you see now. Long, scraggly hair. Really didn't pay attention too often. I actually had the worst introductory class experience in my life with Gary because his mom is very, she used to be very protective of Gary. So when Gary came in, she stood right there and watched the whole introductory class. And Gary, when we did the wild hook punch, she was not taking me down the correct way. He was slamming me, as hard as he could, and landing belly to chest. And I changed a lot. I used to be much more intense than I am now. Much more laid back now, and I was so irritated with this kid, man. It was unbelievable. And but he just kept showing up, kept coming back, and he used to train super hard. And I remember I used to tell him, I read a recent interview that he gave, and I can't take credit for Gary's success. Gary trained with Professor Ricardo, who's my teacher. He's at the Angelo Gracie Academy. We have tons of great teammates that he gets to train with. I think no matter where Gary will be, he will be successful. Just like Ricardo says, no matter where I will be, he thinks I will be successful. Of course, the student always gives the credit to the teacher. But I remember he said that I used to tell him, if you train hard, you stay dedicated, you'll be a world champion one day. And not many people believe that. You tell people that, not many people believe it. It's really as simple as showing up every day, putting 110%. And of course, it helps to be around people who have done it before. It helps to be around people who actually stood on the podium, who actually been in a fight, who actually, tasted their own blood, because they know what it's like to go through hell and back to get what you want. So Gary had the benefit of being around many people who have been through it already. However, I've seen many people come through my door that say they want it, but they just didn't have the work ethic that Gary has. And I always tell all my students, I say, what you see Gary do, I say, everybody thinks Gary is, there's something so different about his work ethic. And of course, from the average person there is, but you could go in any academy and you look at any of the top guys in the world, they train as hard as Gary. And it's not like Gary just sits home and trains jiu-jitsu all day. The kid's a full-time college student. He works, he volunteers his time, and he makes it happen. And I think the reason why he gets so good is because he separates it's tough because as competitive as he is, he leaves his ego at the door. I can't tell you how many times I have white belts oh, I caught Gary. I have blue belts, oh, I caught Gary. And, okay, you may have caught Gary, but Gary's probably putting himself in positions to work out of, and he probably gets submitted more out of anybody in the whole school. But if you just train just to solely win and never get better, you're never going to get better. So he really puts himself in those positions to improve and to get better. And kid works hard, man. So I'm proud that I was the one to. I'm proud that he walked through these doors and chose to believe in us and believe in this team.
So he came and he started at Ocean County, not Ricardo?
No, he started with me at Ocean County. Well, actually, he started at another school, and then he found, and the other school's great too. You know where he started. He started at Tongue Dragon. They were in Bayville, and they're great at what they do. They have their own program, but Gary just found himself here, and he felt more comfortable here. And since he's been here, man, I mean, 2-time no-gi world champion, Pan American champion, Pan American openweight champion. There's just so many titles that you can't even really too many to list. And the funny thing is, I was talking to my students the other day, like I have other students that are Pan Am champions. I have other students that, like place in the Pan Ams, like that. If you took that student and put them in any other academy, they'd be a superstar. I have a ton of students who have placed, like Kyle Kramer took second in the brown belt Pan Am's no-gi last year, and that's phenomenal. It's like we have so many great guys. It's just that Gary is constantly on the front line, constantly, competing, win, lose, or draw. People see his name, and I think his game is really entertaining to watch. Like I don't have a game like that. Like I think, everything I've ever won, the Pan Am's, the Worlds, has always been like very, close. Like I'll beat a white belt the same way I'll beat a black belt. Tight game, slow, methodical. This kid's doing cartwheels, and I remember I watched the Kumite, and when I watched his one match, and the kid got upset because Gary started off doing cartwheels on the mat. Like sometimes I don't even watch. Sometimes I'll start watching his match and I'll start doing something, and I'll just shake my head and turn away. And, he could tell you about that. It's rare that I tell him, great job. Even when he wins, I usually don't tell him great job. But like I said, it's entertaining to say the least.
Is there anything else you want to tell us about, your return to grappling, or Gary, or anything about the school?
Yeah, I just, no matter what I do, no matter how many times I fight, people look at me as a jiu-jitsu guy, and I can't say I'm mad about that. I love jiu-jitsu is I really believe in it, and I know it can change lives, and we have a huge program. I'm stepping back into grappling competition simply because I can. I have the physical power to do so. I have the mental strength to do so. At 31 years old, I would whoop who I was at 27 years old, and that's really honest to God the truth. And as far as Gary, I know he's been playful lately with his, he was going to, how do you say their last name?
Meow.
Yeah, Meow. When he was going against the Meow brothers, and a couple people were emailing me like, man, why is Gary going so crazy, calling these kids out? I don't think, if you know Gary, it's all fun, but I think he really just wants to test himself against the best guys in the world. And I know he does. And that's the way he's been bred, he's been bred that way. That's just how it is, it's in the bloodline, and you can't fault him for that. I could fault him for making those crazy cat pictures that he made of the Meow brothers, but like I said, sometimes I just like, hey, Gary will be Gary, but no, he's keep your eye open. I expect this is just the beginning for him.
All right, well, thank you for speaking with us today. I know I've got to speak to Gary because he's got a lot to say about his upcoming competition. So, but thanks a lot, and wish you the best of luck in
Thank you.
all the competitions coming up.
Thank you very much.